Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of Cookiecast. I'm here today, sweating it out in the man cave, trying to work out which is best to upload as latest podcast. Been a little while of in between actually recording some. The store cupboard got a little low on what was available. We are trying, as always, new things over here on Cookiecast. We're going to be looking at maybe the option to switch to a video podcast. And the podcast I'm going to upload today would have actually had the option of being a video podcast, but due to timings and not actually knowing how to do video editing, I made the decision to upload this podcast just as audio. What I'm intending to do is further down the line potentially go back and re-edit it so that the one that's on YouTube will be the video version. But for speed, time, ability, this one will have to be a audio only for now. So same sort of content as what you used to, but it will be the audio. Problem being is that in the actual podcast it mentions the video, so just ignore that for now, and I'll try and get that sorted with the help of the lovely Ed Dench. Today on Cookiecast, it's a returning guest, Mr. Sam Muscroft. We talked about our usual sort of conversations, big healthy dose of anime in there, some TV stuff, cartoons, a lot of games, things like that. So yeah, have a listen, have a see what you think to this. I know you guys out there that are listening to Cookiecast and more importantly Zombiecast are clawing for the next instalment, which should have been coming up as this podcast, but unfortunately, again, time, ability and so on has meant that we're having to push Zombiecast episode 3 back a little bit. Fingers crossed that'll be next week's episode. It's certainly a juicy one. I know you guys are waiting on that cliffhanger, but again, you'll just have to wait a little bit longer. So for now, have a listen to what me and Sam have got to say, and then see what you guys think to this. And then fingers crossed there'll be more and more Zombiecast coming further down the line. So check this one out. Right, okay, so apparently I need to do that. Right, podcast time, let's do this. I'll hide my bank stuff from view. Oh dear. Sam Muscroft.
Hello.
Back in the bat cave, cat cave, man cave. I suppose if I said lady cave, that would be...
No, we're not using the term lady cave.
No. Wow. I was like, where can we go with cave? And yeah.
What was Catwoman? Did Catwoman have a cave?
Cat cave.
She didn't have a cat cave.
No, I don't think she did. She had a penthouse, didn't she?
Selena Kyle, I think she did.
She had a penthouse.
I'm going by what I know of Catwoman. I'm going entirely by the Michael Keaton Batman films.
I think in almost every carnation I've ever seen, which is probably an embarrassing...
But that's the mental one where she dies and gets resurrected by cats. That I'm pretty certain that didn't happen originally, did it? She was just like a lady who dressed,
She was cat burglar.
Yeah, but she just enjoyed,
She took the cat part of cat burglar a little bit further than...
But she didn't become a cat zombie. That was only in the Tim Burton one.
And we thank him for it.
I realise I've already messed up your intro, sorry.
I've not done the intro. Did I not do the intro? Did I not say it's podcast time, let's do this?
Yeah, I think so. Then we started and then we already went off on a tangent on Selena Kyle and her zombie status.
Hey, you know what we can do on video podcast?
What's that?
Asda, still flavored water.
Polish booze of some kind.
And actually, yeah, on video, I suppose we shouldn't. We should like blank it out. It should be like
It's good Polish booze. We know what they're doing, the Poles, when it comes to the booze.
Polish lady once told me that everybody in the world drinks Russian vodka because it's the best. The Russians drink Polish vodka because it's the best. So take from that what you will. So we're back in the cave. Let's just go with the cave. Talking everything pop culture. I've mentioned video. Sam doesn't want to do video. I'm doing video.
I don't have a face for video.
I've got a face for radio.
Yeah.
I think I've used that joke about 800 times so far.
I'm pretty certain that if I'm on video, I'll just turn the camera to stone. So
all we have to do is keep an eye on the time so that I can run over and change the battery at some point. This was the thing. I used it the other day when me and Paul did it. I was like, "Oh, Paul, I can stream it to my phone, so I can see the feed and it'll be fine." Not realising that like sending the video to my phone, the battery just
would
went,
absolutely cripple the battery. Give it constantly Wi-Fi or whatever.
It went gone. I was like, I'm sure that battery was fresh. Yeah, it was fresh, but it wasn't casting freaking live streaming video. I'm also drinking a coffee. It's a nice cup of coffee. It's a little bit nicer than the one Sam's got. But, you know.
You see, this is the problem with video. I feel it somehow like ruins the magic of podcasting when they assume that we're on a log flume somewhere or at the top of a mountain.
Something
as opposed to sitting on a sofa. Yeah, sitting on a sofa in someone's house.
Something that Paul raised the other day is that we've become a mobile podcast and we should try and see how many different random locations we can use. Tomorrow's is going to be the most interesting, I feel. Pretty sure I've got authorization.
Yeah, maybe not bring a camera.
Bring the camera. Fine. There'll be no logos, I don't think. We can edit anything out that shouldn't be there. You know, like James. I mean Paul. I mean, whoa!
I'm sure we never have to do any editing. All of our podcasts.
I've never edited anything out of a podcast.
It comes out perfect.
Perfect. First time, every time. Never, ever spend hours and hours and hours editing. So, question number 1 on today's podcast is Macross Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the most perfect anime ever made?
Yeah, the problem is it ruins people for all other Japanese animation. It had sort of a super group of creative staff at the time, and they all went on to do. There was 3 like main ones I always think of in the same period: Macross Plus, Cowboy Bebop,
yes,
and Escaflowne, and they all had basically the same creative staff and directors and music and the like on them, which is why they're all awesome. But the problem is that anything outside of that period is like, oh yeah, it was good, but it wasn't as good as Macross Plus.
Yeah. I read a series of books recently, and it was a great series, the John Dies in the End series. If anybody hasn't read those books, I would strongly suggest you don't read them, because those books ruin all other books. There's
a lot of books, man.
I'm currently trying to read a series at the moment, and I'm like, it's just not working, because, you know, it's not any of the John Dies in the End series, or any of the other books written by the same author. I feel I've had books ruined for me.
I don't know. I mean, because I would say, like, I don't read anywhere near as much as I used to, or indeed should. But, like, if I had to, like, recommend books to people, I would always go with, like, the Ian M. Banks books as being books that will ruin other science fiction for you by being so well crafted.
Yeah, I think
aren't Netflix doing Consider Flaybus as a series? I've heard this.
Netflix are doing $18 billion worth of new content.
They are, but coming off the success of Altered Carbon, I believe they're doing Consider Flaybus, which is, in my opinion, the worst of his books, but the most filmable. Because it's kind of an action-y, kind of an action-adventure type of book, which is by far the least interesting and sort of conceptually, because a lot of his books deal with sort of very high concept stuff. But you know what? I bet the series is going to be better than the book. And it's just neat to see Netflix picking up stuff like that.
Yeah, I've always liked to see, because it's all called original programming stuff, but often it's not original. It's come from, it has to come from somewhere. At the end
sure,
of the day.
you get like a Stranger Things that have that are pretty much original programming. But Netflix feels like kind of a dumping ground recently. Because I've been on there and it's like, so look at some of the films and some of the stuff on there. It's like, Jesus.
I had a conversation yesterday where I said, I think I'm going to cancel my Netflix subscription.
Oh, really? It's not got that bad, has it?
I haven't used Netflix in... So what was the last thing I watched? I watched Altered Carbon. I watched Castlevania.
There's another second season of that coming out fairly soon.
Yeah, and I watched... Devilman.
The Deathman Crybaby. I don't know about that one.
Sometimes... I often quite like experimental animation, but when experimental's gone just too far, I'm a bit like, dial it back a touch, please.
It's full of tits and violence, but I can't really hold that against Devilman. As like the original Devilman OVA is pretty much the first 2 volumes of the Devilman manga. It pretty much does it straight down the line, like it's almost transposed directly from it.
Yeah,
which shows you just how bad the original manga was. For it's just like, this is just tits and violence. Though for 1972, it's pretty out there.
Yeah, if you look back at anime over time, I often think about a friend of mine. His mum's take on anime was she used to say boobs and bums, and that to her was what anime and certainly comics of that generation, like Gen 13, BB-8 sort of era.
Oh no,
it was all tits and ass.
I always think of that early manga era, like the early 90s. It was, if I was a little bit before me, but you probably remember it a bit more than I do.
Oh, I lived it, man.
But I can remember it
was my nam.
But that's all that manga brought over was as they always said, they brought over 3 things in in animated form: sex, violence, and sexual violence.
Yeah.
Because I can remember, obviously, when I was 12, seeing Legend of the Overfiend, it was like, whoa.
Yeah. Been there, done that. Pretty sure I own at least one, if not a couple of those on DVD.
They go very, very downhill very quickly.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
The first one's pretty good.
Yeah.
Working within the standards of this is animated horror filth.
Yeah.
And, it's pretty good if you want some animated horror filth. It's really well animated.
Yeah, if you're
It's got a story of sorts.
You're there, you're looking for, something you're like, not really sure what I want this evening, what I'm thinking, something animated. Horror.
It's like, you're thinking, it's like, you know what I haven't seen in a while and I could really do with? A giant animated tentacle cock tearing up a hospital. I could just go for that right now.
It's the pizza of, takeaway. Should I get a curry? Should I get a Chinese? Pizza. Let's go with pizza. It's that, isn't it? It's like, tentacle tearing up a hospital. Let's do this. So, yeah, manga had that. Yeah, they had that time, didn't they?
But they don't really make that kind of stuff anymore. Devilman Crybaby is kind of similar to it, in that it's pure schlock. It just doesn't care. It's like Wicked City or... you could argue that Devilman Crybaby's got interesting enough visuals to kind of sell itself, but it is just schlock.
Like I said, I love a bit of experimental anime. I love... I think I remember watching... Samurai Champloo.
Oh, it's a great one. Absolute classic. Again, I think that was late 90s, wasn't it?
And I was like, wow, this is insane. It was so well animated. It had the hip hop beat to it. It was like the fight scenes and stuff were very fast paced, which can be done in anime, but sometimes you get that blur.
Sometimes it's just not. Sometimes they don't have the budget to do what they want. which again was something like looking at Macross Plus, the fight scenes and that are just ridiculously beautifully animated. It's almost offensively well animated.
Yeah. And, you know, we will come back to Macross Plus because I did want to sort of strip it apart a bit. But yeah, you know, I love to see something where I genuinely go, wow. Afro Samurai.
Afro Samurai is also pretty cool. Didn't that have... God, who did the voices in that? Was that...
So Samuel Jackson.
Samuel Jackson, wasn't it? Yeah, I thought it was.
Afro Samurai, and it was like...
Okay. Was that Western or was that Japanese animated with like Western...
yeah, so that was an American attempt at anime.
But was it done by a Japanese studio? Was it like animated by a Japanese studio? It's a long time ago, I honestly can't remember.
It's a while ago. They did a second one, which I don't think I've ever seen.
Sometimes sequels, especially anime sequels, don't come out right.
What, Ghost in the Shell 2?
I don't know. I like the second Ghost in the Shell film. That's a great film. Wow. See, now you can see the expression on camera now.
Just about that. If only you could see my face.
Totally can see your face. The thing is a lot of people don't like it because it doesn't have Meiji Kusanagi in it at all. It's basically the magical adventures of Bato and his shit ponytail.
Yeah.
But I like it nonetheless. I think it's got some neat ideas. It's not as nice. It doesn't look as nice as the first one.
I just struggled with it, full stop. I think I only ever saw it. I think I saw it once, and then didn't like it, and then later down the line went, oh, maybe I should watch it again because I don't remember why I didn't like it. Watched it again, and went,
It's not the most like unwatchable of Mamoru Oshii's films, I would say. I think I've mentioned Angel's Egg before in one of the podcasts, but that's like it has no dialogue and it's like an hour and a half long and it's just pure experimental animation. The art was done by the same dude who does the Final Fantasy artwork.
Okay.
Something Amano, but everyone in his art, everyone is everyone's like an albino.
Yeah.
An anorexic albino. And that's what the whole thing looks like. Great. It's really interesting to watch, but you kind of watching it's like, how did this get made?
Sometimes that is the only question you can ask for certain things. It's like, how did you get greenlit for this?
Speaking of shit things that were made, and also bringing back into Netflix, I watched 2 films back to back on Netflix last week, which was Life Force, followed by Galaxy of Terror, and that's what makes me think, Jesus, Netflix have got some stuff on here.
I saw when you see those like posts on Facebook, there's like just a picture with like loads writing and stuff. I saw one the other day and was like, wow, that is so nailed on. It was like, here's how to watch a film on Netflix. Go on to whichever system you use to watch Netflix. Scroll through Netflix for 45 minutes looking for a film to watch. Don't find anything. Then put a series on that you've seen before and then spend the rest of the time looking at your phone. And I was like, are they watching me? Do they know that that's what I do? Because this is why I don't watch Netflix anymore.
It is hard to find stuff sometimes, but you should never feel like, shit man, maybe I should watch Life Force and Galaxy of Terror. Life Force is amazing because I describe it as a film that made Species look classy.
Nice.
And Species, it's from that very specific period of the 90s. I like to call it the Eurotrash era.
What, where they went, so, Aliens, that was successful. Let's do something like that. We didn't do that, did we?
But, Life Force, I think, was 1985, but wow. Species was like the mid-90s. Yeah. And it was all a very, very slim excuse to just have a lady running about without a kit on. And Life Force is exactly the same. It's space vampires. I had someone describe it to me as Species meets Quatermass, and I was like, Jesus, it is, because it's a British film. It's a British film with a French lady that shouldn't speak very often.
Okay.
And she loses a kit, and she's a vampire from space.
Oh, okay.
It's got Patrick Stewart in it.
Oh, God. I saw Patrick Stewart. I saw a clip of Patrick Stewart.
It's from 1985, and I'm like, You don't look any different, Patrick Stewart. When did you start aging?
No, Patrick Stewart looks the same at all times.
Because he must have been just after he came off the set of June. Because 1985, June was 1984.
Wow. I saw a clip of Patrick Stewart when he was on Extras, which I think I've seen 2 bits of previously, and he was just talking about a film which actually weirdly sounds like the film you've described, but he was doing it jokingly. He was talking about a film where it's just got women where they all lose their clothes, and I was like, Patrick Stewart, the fact that they get that nowadays,
jobbing actor,
they just get him to say that. I think the writer's room for American Dad or something, there's probably a section like the children's table.
Oh man, I fucking loved Patrick Stewart on American Dad. He's amazing.
I truly believe that there's a children's table in the writer's room of American Dad of 3 or 4 people that just sit there and go, what can we get Patrick Stewart to say next that's really, really offensive?
The thing is, he's not bothered because he's a jobbing actor. No. And he's been doing it for years. He's done everything. He's not bothered.
There's a line, and it's one of those. I'm not going to repeat the line because it's a little crass. But there's a line. There's a line in an episode of American Dad that when it was said, no, it's American Dad, yeah, and it said, and I was just like,
is it when he's going out with Stan's daughter?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I knew which one it would be. I can't remember the line, but
there's 2 versions of it. But it's when he's asking for. I think he's asking for Gatorade or something, and it's like, oh my god!
That's what I could remember.
You are geniuses, just purely because you got Patrick Stewart to say that. And I imagine Patrick Stewart is literally just like, I'll say whatever you want, just pay me. I imagine that's how acting works. I'll do whatever.
Well, he was in Oblivion, wasn't he? He turns up for 2 minutes at the start of The Emperor, realises that he's, in front of a video game protagonist and just pops his clogs.
Yeah, lasted, 13 minutes, if that. It was a shame to see that Ryan Reynolds is selling some mobile game at the moment. I was like, I'm sure you need the money.
Oh, I'm surprised he even felt like he had to do something like that.
Exactly. When I saw it, I was like, really? You've been in 2 of the most successful films in the last 5 years.
Is it like seeing Al Pacino doing a Dunkin' Donuts advert? Is it as bad as that?
Bill Hicks said...
Or some Wells selling peas.
Bill Hicks said anybody that does an advert should be struck from the artistic record. And I think George Carlin said the same, but followed it up with, and I've done adverts. It was a bit like...
I always get the feeling as an actor, once you've got to the point of you're Ryan Reynolds and he can't be short of a few bob.
He's like, oh my god, can I pay next month's rent? I best do this.
Wouldn't you be more concerned about your legacy at that point rather than...
Yes, exactly. Shouldn't you be there going, I don't need the money, so I'm not going to do it? Rather than going, a few more quid in the bank, because, I'll put it with all the other millions and millions and millions of dollars. He'll never have to work again. His children, and their children will probably never have to work again, or ever, because they'll never have to work.
It is the Al Pacino Dunkin' Donuts situation. It's like, Al Pacino, how much money do you have? Do you really need to dance around in a Dunkin' Donuts advert?
I've not seen it.
Oh, it's awful.
What I will say is...
awful.
It's Samuel L. Jackson's fault.
Oh, yeah?
Because he did an advert for Lloyd's Bank, got paid £50,000 to do an advert, which was him walking down the road reading like an auto cue thing. I think he did it twice, got paid £50,000, and then every actor in the world went, oh, that's the thing, is it?
But yeah, it's kind of disgusting. It's for his 3 minutes of his time, he makes twice as much as the average UK wage per year.
Yeah, he does. But hey,
if I was, I don't know. I say if I was him, would I do it? And the answer is, you know what? Maybe I wouldn't.
Probably not. Who knows? I mean, I don't know how it works. If you're in film, and they go, here's $10 million, and that $10 million gets taxed to... There's that line in South Park where they do one of Will Smith's kids or something. It's like...
Jaden Smith.
What was it? $40 million is still $10 million after tax or something, or $10 million is $8 million. I don't know. So I presume you lose a lot of money in tax I guess. I don't think Wesley Snipes did. So I presume they'll lose a lot of money. But at the end of the day, if you've been paid $10 million, if that film is successful, do you not get more money from it? If it makes $200 million, do you not get
I don't think
more?
it generally works like that. I mean,
wasn't there something about Christian Bale getting paid more money off the back of...
Sometimes, actors can put in stipulations. So maybe the classic one I can always think of is Alec Guinness from the original Star Wars, in that they just didn't really have the money to pay him, so it was like, sure, I'll take money off the proceeds. And then, obviously, Star Wars made $5 bajillion. As an Alec Guinness made off like a bandit from that. But on the other hand, he did basically, say, sure, he took a lower wage and then took...
Yeah, good on him. The best one, hands down, has to be Jack Nicholson. Jack Nicholson had the greatest agent of all time, because Jack Nicholson's agent managed to get him a deal for the Tim Burton Batman, where he signed a contract to be in Tim Burton's Batman as long as he got a percentage of the proceeds of any sequels.
Depends how you define sequel, I suppose.
So, Jack Nicholson got paid $60 million for Batman Returns.
Wow.
Wasn't in it. Wasn't mentioned. There wasn't even a picture of him. Nothing. He got paid $60 million for that film. Now that's good agenting.
Yeah. The other one I can always think of, which is a good example, is the Witcher license. The dude who wrote the original Witcher books?
Yeah.
Back in 2007, when CD Projekt Red were, making the first Witcher game, they obviously approached... I can't remember his name. This is horribly unprofessional, but I can't remember his name. And he basically said, it's like, we want to do a Witcher game. You've got two choices. You can either have an upfront fee, or you can take proceeds of the games. But a game's going on. It's like, you know what? These, don't believe in video games. Load of rubbish. Give it upfront for free. I think it was about $4,000 he got paid for the license.
For anybody who doesn't know, The Witcher 3 is one of the most successful selling game of all time.
In fairness to the guy, he's not bitter about it. He's on record as saying, so, sometimes you make a bad decision.
I got $4,000.
I believe it was, the equivalent of $4,000 or something at the time.
Jeez.
But I know he got, compared to... Remember, the original Witcher didn't do that great business anyway. The Witcher 2 was reasonably popular. I know that was on the Xbox 360, but it was still mostly a PC game.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, Witcher 3 came out, and that did, ridiculous business. Mainly because I think it came out about the same time as Dragon Age Inquisition and made it like a laughable piece of shit.
It's right there. You can see it from here. I own Dragon Age Inquisition, and I played it. And I played it like this. What is happening in this game?
It's so boring.
What am I supposed to be doing in this game? Am I doing this right? Because if I'm doing it right, what the fuck is happening in this game? What is this game? I don't understand. Am I doing this right? Should I look it up online? No, I'll just keep playing a bit more, because maybe something will happen. All I remember is walking around a courtyard, and there was a courtyard that went round, and there was pillars in the middle, and then there was the middle of the courtyard. You couldn't go into the middle, so you had to walk all the way around the outside of this village, and I think that was the point where I was like, I'm done with this game.
I can remember just having me. I always I love a bitch about an open world, but Dragon Age Inquisition had 8 empty open worlds with fuck all in them, and you had to do a certain number of side quests in these open worlds to progress the main plot. Because I kind of love the original Dragon Age. I think it's the last great true RPG that BioWare ever did. Mass Effect 2 was great as well, but it's not really a sort of proper RPG. It's kind of a shooter hybrid. And then Dragon Age 2 came out, and it was oh dear, this is a bit rushed. And Inquisition came out, and it was I'm done now with BioWare forever. And then I foolishly played Andromeda, Mass Effect Andromeda. I only played it because it was you can play the first 10 hours for free on the PC, and it couldn't hold my attention for more than about 90 minutes. I gave up on it because it was just so fucking dreadful.
I'm not sure if I've spoken about it before on the podcast, but my Mass Effect story was I played the first one and loved it. I loved that game. I played it several times.
I think I do remember you speaking about this, and you're one of these heathens who doesn't like Mass Effect 2, aren't you?
There is a very long-winded version of why that is. That game lied to me, and it abused me, and that's, you know, it did horrible things to me. I played that game about 800 times to try and get the perfect ending.
Mass Effect 2
and the perfect ending is not possible to achieve.
But most importantly, who did you romance in Mass Effect 2?
I have no idea.
What? I suppose wifeys were off the hook in Mass Effect 2.
All of them, none of them, one of them, I don't know. I just wanted to get the correct ending so when I went and played the third one, I'd have the full crew. And then, couldn't get the perfect ending. Then, bought the third one, left it in the wrapper. Then I found out that you could choose an option at the beginning of the third one to have the whole crew. And then, still didn't play it, and I think I sold it in its wrapper.
I remember Mass Effect 3 being a game that I'm not sure I've ever been so disappointed in a video game.
Didn't it score 10 out of 10?
From who?
IGN, I think, gave it...
Who gives a shit what IGN says?
I think they gave it 10 out of 10, and that was the first point in time where people started going, so the rumours about IGN being paid for reviews, I think we might be onto something here. I think there was actually a picture of Mass Effect 3, a hand holding a big wad of cash, and that was it. It was a picture of the front of Mass Effect 3. A plus sign, a hand holding a big wad of cash, equals, and the IGN 10 out of 10 score.
Well, that was when EA had got the slimy bits on BioWare, I mean, because they basically killed BioWare. They're all but dead.
And here's the thing. BioWare, I mean, you know...
It depends on how you think of Anthem as well.
So this is where, you know where I'm going.
Yeah, sure.
The one game that I am genuinely looking forward to, that I am, you know, I'm keeping an eye on it, I'm watching it, I'm liking what I'm seeing. From the first thing I saw to the last thing I saw at E3,
It looks
I am
a bit Destiny.
Genuinely looking forward to Anthem.
It looks a bit Destiny.
I own both Destinies.
I don't know, having played Mass Effect Andromeda, it's like, I don't think we can trust I think they're gone.
I don't trust them as far as I can throw them, but everything I've seen about Anthem is a game I want to play.
Was it E3?
Yeah. Playable, I think, as well. I've seen videos on, again, unfortunately.
I know you and James did like an E3 teardown.
Yeah, there was some E3 stuff on the last podcast, which won't be the last one when this one goes out. But anyway, so yeah, there was stuff about Anthem. I'm genuinely looking forward to that game, but it doesn't answer the question: is Macross Plus the best?
It's not, because Gunbuster and Giant Robo exist, but it's still very close.
Is it the perfect anime?
I would say, in terms of, like, because as much as I love something like Gunbuster, I can't deny that it's a very flawed piece of work. Whereas Macross Plus, every component of it is kind of really well done.
So, as I've mentioned many times before,
it's got Bryan Cranston in it as well. So.
It has got Bryan Cranston. As I mentioned many times before,
Bryan Cranston.
I believe that there are particular genres, and there are particular genres, particular things, and more importantly, for particular times. So at certain times where you sit down and you go, man, I've had a hard week at work. I really don't want to have to think about anything. I want Expendables. You know, I want to put something on with big explosions, with lots of stuff.
I want to watch Commando.
Yeah, I don't want to have to think about what's on the screen. Sometimes you want something that, you know, makes you think. Sometimes you want something that makes you feel. Sometimes you want explosions. So I have this genre of film that I say perfect. Now, to me, you can say that film is a perfect film. Doesn't mean it's the best film. It means that every part of it is perfect.
I would say Macross Plus falls into the category then. As much as I love Giant Robo and Gunbuster, they're both very flawed pieces of work, and whereas Macross Plus is completely self-contained, every part of it looks wonderful, sounds wonderful, and was obviously very meticulously planned out from start to finish.
Yeah. Which is how things should be done, and it just goes to show that when you do that, you get something fantastic at the end. I mean, let's face it, 4 episodes that were then condensed down to make like a mini movie.
I'm not a fan of the movie. I think it condenses too much out of there, but
it does strip a little too much. Yeah,
it strips out a lot of the character stuff, and that's kind of Macross Plus's heart, really.
If I'm looking at the box set and I'm like, oh, on this side is the movie, on this side is the 4 episodes, I don't think there's ever a time I would put the movie in.
I would say I prefer the movie's ending, but in general, I prefer the structure of the OVA.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm always watching. I'm always going to watch the episodes because it gives.
I don't know if you can get hold of it. The Blu-ray, the Japanese Blu-ray release as well looks amazing. It looks so good.
I had the opportunity to buy it at a convention, but it was really expensive. And you know where you look at something and go, it's expensive, but it'd be really cool. But it's expensive.
Slightly bizarrely,
but it'd be really cool.
The Japanese release of the it comes with obviously the OVA and the movie. The movie has never had a dub, so it comes with like it's got subtitles, like English subtitles and Japanese subtitles, and that's you can watch that. The OVA comes with the English dub, the Japanese dub, but no English subtitles. It's such a weird release.
Yeah. And as I always talk about, the DVD discs are printed wrong.
They are right. I've got that wrongly printed PAL release. Yeah.
I love playing the. Which way around is it? You have to watch the movie to watch episode 1, or you have to watch the second disc to watch episode 1. I just want to watch episode 1, and they're labelled wrong. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, the DVD release of Macross Plus, the labels on the DVDs are incorrect for the ones you want to watch. So you have to work out which one you want to watch.
But yeah, I would say Macross Plus very much typifies that, because I know I've always said that the late 90s was it's kind of early 90s actually Macross Plus, but that period in the 90s is kind of a golden era of anime in terms of giving a lot of variety and having adult protagonists within it, because like Samu Dyson and Gold are both adults. They're both, I don't know what their exact ages are, but I believe them to be probably late 20s.
Yeah, I feel like it's mentioned somewhere along the line, isn't it?
I know that it's 7 years after that. The events of Macross Plus are 7 years after they have their falling out, which is obviously no spoilers, but they have a big falling out sort of in the high school era. We should put them at sort of mid-20s, if we believe that they were maybe sort of 18 at the time.
Part of me wants to say that when I feel like Isamu's introduced early on. I don't know if his age is mentioned early on.
You can work out. You can work out in his probably his mid to late 20s.
You're right. They both feel late 20s, like 27, 28 sort of area. And
that's very unusual for anime these days.
What, you mean it's not a 14-year-old that's got superpowers?
No, and that's why I like Macross Plus, because it feels like an adult anime, but not like Legend of the Overfiend is an adult anime. But it feels like it was made for adults. Even younger people could almost certainly enjoy it. And I did. I must have watched it originally when I was about maybe 13, 14.
Yeah, I hit that one early on.
It's held up incredibly well. In fact, I would argue it looks absolutely stunning still to this day.
Yeah.
The Blu-ray releases, because a lot of that stuff was filmed on film.
Yeah.
Early in the day, scrubs up real nice.
Yeah. Like I say, to me, it's probably the perfect anime. Like, the way I would...
It's also only 4 episodes and they're 40 minutes long. It's like, that's a good length.
Yeah. In film terms, for me, a perfect film is Serenity. I believe that Serenity is a perfect film. It's got absolutely everything. There are no elements that you can complain about in that film.
Serenity, the only thing I'll say about Serenity is it's obviously very dependent on Firefly to do a lot of setup. Whereas, what I would describe as a perfect film, something like, say, Aliens, is meticulously set up so that I can just give it to anyone and they can enjoy it.
Yeah. One thing I will say about Serenity, which amused me a little, was originally I saw it on DVD. Then it was released on Blu-ray. And I'm like, oh my God, I've got to get it on Blu-ray. I've got to get that Blu-ray sound. I've got to get that Blu-ray, the clear visuals of Blu-ray. I've got to see it in Blu-ray. Yeah, I don't think the actors really appreciated it being moved to Blu-ray, because there's like scenes where you watch it and go, oh wow, you're sweating profusely in the scene.
Or sometimes, as you say, it's obviously not designed to be upscaled to a certain level. And sometimes I find that like a Blu-ray release can actually like really highlight how like rubbish sets are and stuff sometimes. Yeah, there were points watching Serenity on Blu-ray. It was like, whoa! I never would notice that on DVD. The bad guy in Serenity just sweats through the whole film. It's like points where it's like, just give your brow a little. But sometimes, like a Blu-ray release can like be this amazing thing. It's like the another perfect film I would go for is the John Carpenter The Thing. But in Blu-ray, it looks amazing. It looks amazing anyway. But I could watch The Thing any day of the week. It's such. Is it John Carpenter's best?
Yeah.
I mean, I would put it as John Carpenter's best film.
Yeah. So I have a deep love for the film The Thing.
So it looks like the special effects, and even now I look and like, that looks fucking brilliant.
Yeah, I mean it's the equivalent of American Werewolf in London.
Yeah.
Special effects in American Werewolf in London are phenomenal and have never been matched.
No, I mean that film has its problems, but the special effects are not one of them.
Exactly. The Thing is, I have such a deep love for it. I don't know if you were there the other day when I was telling the story about my 30th birthday. There was a quote unquote surprise party, which, to be fair, was a surprise. And I got back to my house and there was people there and it was like, yay, people. And they were like, oh, come and look. Went out to my back garden, which isn't this back garden, it was my other back garden. And my family had essentially built a cinema in my back garden, which was this like huge, like marquee thing, which if you put the sides on, was like a screen.
Yeah.
And there was like a projector and we were projecting films. So there's various films played over the course of the afternoon and the evening. And the film that we watched when it was like dark was The Thing.
That's a fucking brilliant choice.
And it was like 30 foot The Thing in the back garden whilst we were outside in the middle of July. Sound, it was just like,
that sounds amazing.
This is freaking awesome. So I have such a love for that film because, I mean, where do you even start? All the characters are so flawed. The main protagonist of that film is a raging alcoholic.
I mean, because you think how long ago it was made. It's like, what, 35 years? Well, 30, even older than that, 35 years old. And it's like, what?
I watched it recently, and just because
I've watched it quite a few times. Yeah,
I was like, I feel like watching The Thing, and I'm never going to be
I don't love
disappointed
John Carpenter either. I've got kind of a mixed relationship with John Carpenter. I like some of his films, and I really don't like other ones. But I can't deny that The Thing is again, as far as I would consider, that a flawless film.
Yeah, I mean, I would throw The Thing up there onto my probably top 10 list.
Definitely, I would say. Well, maybe top 5, I don't know, but
it's one of those. I'm not sure I really want to keep going over it and coming back to it, but there are elements in that film that are perfect. I love to know what sort of casting process they went through to get the dog.
I have no idea.
That dog is terrifying. There are bits where the dog, like when it's creeping round the base. I mean, I don't know whether I need to do with the spoiler alert at this point. As Sam said, it's 35 plus years old. If you haven't seen The Thing, well, that's your loss. Go watch it.
Go watch it now.
Paul. Paul. Watch The Thing.
Go watch The Thing, Paul.
There are bits where that dog's creeping round the base, and it's terrifying. That animal is a terrifying creature. And it's just like, how did they cast the dog?
How do you cast the dog in general?
So, yeah, you know, John Carpenter's the thing, perfect movie. I thoroughly... There's another film that I would throw out, but, you know, there's probably a little controversial. I really like certain films, and again, a perfect film that I would throw out.
Is it Species?
Species, of course. And, you know, I don't care what people think about this. I'm going to say it anyway. I really like How to Train Your Dragon. Exactly.
It's not what I was expecting.
Exactly.
I think it's a good film, don't get me wrong. It's a thoroughly enjoyable film.
Rob used to text me, like, all the time at a certain point in time, like, guess what's on TV? I'm like, is it How to Train Your Dragon? It's like, yeah, I'm watching it now. It's like, that's great.
The thing is, I love a bit of, you know, I love a, you know, is it Pixar or is it...
DreamWorks.
Is it DreamWorks? What's the other one?
There was a point in time where I was like, I think DreamWorks might do better movies. I was really into DreamWorks.
Speaking of, well, it's not speaking of DreamWorks, speaking of Pixar, the New Incredibles film is out. Is it out soon?
It's out.
Is it already out?
Been out
wow.
for a while. Been out at least a couple of weeks, if not 3 weeks.
Oh no! How about? Okay,
I'm really looking forward to seeing the New Incredibles.
I should probably go and see it.
I'm really looking forward
because the first one's, I would argue, Pixar's best.
Just like I'm really looking forward to How to Train Your Dragon 3.
Do you know they made a sequel?
How to Train Your Dragon is, in my personal opinion, a perfect film. Again, although I would say not the best, but I think at one point I might have said How to Train Your Dragon, favourite movie. How to Train Your Dragon 2, it's one of those where you go, oh, it's a sequel. Stands up to as nearly as good as the first one. They managed to do the same but different and do it right. And I saw a trailer for How to Train Your Dragon 3 and was genuinely excited. Very much so. I was like, ooh, new one. Can't wait.
Yeah, because I know we've not really touched on like newer films this podcast, and that's because there aren't any. You've got The Incredibles 2, which apparently is out. You've got the new Ant-Man film. Is that out fairly soon?
That's out.
Is that all out as well? Shows how much I've been paying attention.
Yeah, and
that's it.
I don't know if we're hitting. I think we all knew it was coming, but I don't know if we might be starting to hit Marvel saturation.
I think we hit it ages ago, personally.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, I've done a spoiler-free review. I've done a spoiler-filled review of. In fact, we did it, didn't we?
We did the spoiler.
Avengers.
Yeah, and
Deadpool 2 and stuff like that. Don't get me wrong. You know, Deadpool one of my favourites. Deadpool 2 is one of those rare occasions where the sequel is probably better than the original. I love the Marvel films, don't get me wrong, but the new ones come out and I've gone, I can probably wait to see it. You know, I'm probably...
Until they resolve the Infinity War thing,
Yep.
Then we're going to be in holding pattern anyway.
Yeah, and that's going to take a while to do, and I'm one of the unfortunate few people, apparently, that, you know, because I was surprised that people were like, oh my god, what's going to happen? It's like, have you not read the book?
I'm just going to reset. We're going to push the reset button is what we're going to do.
Did you not read the book? Because it tells you what happens in the book, because that's the thing.
Well, no, this is the thing. It's like comic book movies. I think I discussed this with you, maybe not on a podcast, but comic book movies have never been bigger. But comics themselves, like, they haven't really grown as an industry at all.
It's weird, isn't it? Because you don't find people going to the cinema on a Saturday night watching a Marvel film.
I think, gosh, I'll go and buy a Spider-Man comic.
Nipping into Travelling Man the next day, or any other comic shop, Forbidden Planet, I'm not picking Travelling Man, and going, oh, let me pick up the latest issue, like you say, Spider-Man, or let me grab a quick issue of Thor and catch up on what's going on there. No. They'll watch the films, but it's like they're still separating the comics out.
They've always got the continuity problem. DC are arguably better at this because did they reboot the whole thing like not that long ago? Maybe it was that long ago now.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. So the New 52
was like 5 years ago. They've rebooted again since then.
Oh, Jesus,
They're on another reboot at the moment. It's like, okay.
Because I can remember the first. Well, I can't remember it, but I own the first reboot, which was Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Yeah.
The original, 1986. I'm thinking. It looks like I'm from about that era. That's when they first looked at the continuity and thought, this can't continue.
Yeah, we can't keep doing this because we've gone
it's
so
absolutely
far
nuts.
off. Let's just press the reset button and start again.
But I do wonder whether they're going to do that with films eventually.
Everyone loves a reboot, don't they?
Saying that, the Marvel films are still, outside of things like Infinity War, are still mostly somewhat self-contained. I mean, I could argue you could watch something like Thor Ragnarok, and as long as you basically knew who Thor was and you basically knew who Hulk was, you can probably follow that.
Yeah. I mean, you've got to give Marvel props for what they're doing. They can consistently make a film that they can send out to the cinemas, they can send out on Blu-ray and stuff like that, make a shed load of money because they can make a film that, like you say, you don't need to know. Everybody knows who the Hulk is, everyone knows who Thor is, mostly through the films though. I remember when they were like, oh, we're going to do a Thor movie, and there was that, who's Thor?
Or even Captain America was kind of more of a joke than a... Because like, you look at now, it's like the idea that Captain America would be, anything other than a huge juggernaut of a franchise. Yeah. But when the first one came out, it's like, who the fuck is Captain America? Who is Iron Man? Remember, Iron Man was kind of a big deal, but no one knew who Iron Man was, apart from comic fans.
I was never a big Captain America fan. I could never get on board. You got to remember that Captain America was Marvel's answer to Superman. And when you put them up against each other, they're like, okay. Nice try.
I mean, Marvel have always worked with the idea that their universe is more grounded than DC, and DC has always had the spectre of Superman sort of hovering over whatever they do, because Superman...
Yep.
And even then, Kryptonite has always been a shit fix for Superman.
Yeah, like I always say, Superman is... There are very few times that they actually evidence that Kryptonite could actually kill Superman. Superman has an allergy, Kryptonite to Superman is like cats to Paul. It's that very much it just causes him a bit of a discomfort.
Again, it depends on the writer though, because sometimes he's completely crippled by it. Sometimes, as you say, it's like he's got a snotty nose.
He's got a sniffle.
But yeah, I mean, I noticed DC have gone remarkably quiet.
No, they released a poster the other day.
Did they? What for?
Aquaman, of course.
Oh, fuck off.
Yeah. I really don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I actually really liked this version of Aquaman, even though I know that they took a lot of flack for him. I quite liked this version of Aquaman. I'm not sure Aquaman was the next pot of call DC movie-wise for a company that is struggling with their films. I'm not sure that was the right way.
Like Cyborg. No one gives a shit about Cyborg.
But have you seen... They can't get the Flash movie off the ground. I think they're on their 4th rewrite, about their 8th different director. They just can't get it off the ground. They can't get the story right, because they've got that unfortunate thing of, the Flash isn't Thor. They can, Marvel can make you understand who Thor is very quickly. The Flash is... Well, how do we do? Do we do an origin story, even though he's already been in the Justice League? Do we do part of an origin story? Do we do a flashback? Which version of the Flash is he? Because there's
which version of the Flash is he? I mean, that's a genuine question. It's like, is it Barry Allen?
I think it's Barry. I think it's Barry. And I think they're going with the forensic scientist version.
I don't know. Yeah, because he is, isn't he? Because that was in the Justice League film. He sees his dad in prison.
Yeah, and he says he's got a job.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
That's not a spoiler.
No? Okay. I just like to be,
Yeah, Flash's dad's in prison. Oh no, I've ruined the film.
Oh, you ruined it. They released a poster for the Aquaman film. So DC are releasing a streaming service.
What?
Did you know about this?
No, I didn't.
So a little while ago, I heard from one of Kevin Smith's multiple podcasts that DC were doing a TV version of the Teen Titans.
Like a live action one? Cool.
So
That could be neat.
they'd posted some pictures online, or somebody had posted pictures online of them filming it. The pictures didn't get that great a response. They said that some of the costumes were a little bit off. I mean, for those of you who don't know the Teen Titans were made up of a group of younger superheroes, which from memory was Robin.
Robin was Starfire was the one, wasn't
Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy, Cyborg.
In the original, I don't know whether that's true in the comics. Like Superboy was in like some of them, wasn't he?
Yeah, so they're doing another series of Young Justice. Superboy's in that.
Is Superboy Young Justice? Am I getting mixed up?
Yeah. They're doing another series of that.
Wait, wasn't Robin in Young Justice as well?
Yes, he was.
Okay.
And then they did a second series of that, and he was Nightwing. And then there was another Robin, and it just... This is what DC does. They just make things really confusing. So, it's San Diego Comic-Con
Yeah.
at the moment. And they have released a trailer to announce the DC streaming service, which apparently... I've probably got this wrong, but apparently there's going to be original content shows, but you can also get comics as well. It's this...
Well, Marvel already have like a subscription service to their comics, don't they?
Yeah, and that's been around for a while. I think there's other ones that you can subscribe to get all comics and stuff. So DC are releasing the stream service. The flagship show is Teen Titans. They've released this trailer. The trailer looks quite interesting. Looks like, you know, there's some special effects that look quite kind of cool, and all this and the other. The most interesting thing that I thought about it was the trailer's got swearing in.
All right.
And we're not talking, oh, piss off. We're talking, Robin says the line, fuck Batman.
Oh, fucking bugger. All right.
So we're going with, obviously, an adult streaming service. Not adult, again, not Murasaki Doji adult. An adult version of the Teen Titans streaming live, or stream to your selected device. Yeah. Not sure how I feel about it.
It feels like that sort of thing maybe sort of work with Netflix for or something to really get some... I feel like they're saying that DC's like TV series have always been rather popular. Because I like Gotham and the Flash TV series and Arrow. They've always done pretty well, haven't they?
So they've got loads though. They've got like I say, Arrow, Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl.
They've done a super... Oh, right, okay, I didn't know that. Shows how out of touch I am.
Is that it? You said another one.
Gotham.
So Gotham's wildly popular. I believe the others are popular as well, although again I think Arrow's been taking a bit of flack for not being very good or something recently.
I didn't realise they'd done a Supergirl TV series. I don't know how that one missed.
Supergirl's been around for a while. Kevin Smith's directed some of the episodes as well as The Flash.
Bruce Timm's favourite is old Supergirl. That's it, old Supergirl, young Supergirl.
Yeah, so I don't know how I feel. I would recommend if you can get a look at the trailer for the Teen Titans TV series.
Because I love the original Teen Titans animated show.
Yeah, I do as well. Ron Perlman did the voice of
Slade. Yeah.
Which is
totally
just great casting.
I thought in general the voice acting was pretty spot on.
Have you seen any of Teen Titans Go?
No, I keep meaning to.
It's good to watch, because the episode's 5 minutes long.
Yeah, I know it's kind of silly,
and it is very silly. There's some bonkers stuff in that show. It's proper bonkers as well. It's like, what am I watching? I think it's coming off the back of these strange shows that I think they work on the principle that kids won't get it, whereas adults will be like, what am I watching? This is insane. It's it's worth a watch for at least a couple of episodes. It's amusing.
Well, probably not as good as the original. Or just very different to the original.
Yeah, but it's still the weird thing about it is because they've gone with the really like the babyish animation, but it's still the same voice cast.
Oh, is it?
It's exactly the same, but I don't think it feels like they don't do any missions. It's just all set in the tower, and they all just talk about stuff.
So I can remember Teen Titans was mostly a pretty silly show. But it had some surprisingly good serious moments, like with Terror and and Slade, obviously, sort of later on.
Yeah. Again, great bad guy. Great voice cast. Anytime Ron Perlman does voice.
The problem I've always found with that version of Slade is that Slade's obviously appeared in other sort of DC stuff, and it's not been Ron Perlman. It's always felt kind of weird.
Yeah.
In the same way when Batman isn't Kevin Conroy and the Joker isn't Mark Hamill.
Yeah. You're not doing it for me. You're really not cutting it here.
Even as good as they could be, it just doesn't feel right.
Mm. Yeah, it's... I told you before, I don't know, that Kevin Conroy turns up in yoga hoses.
I don't think you have told me that.
Did I not tell you about that? Kevin Conroy turns up in yoga hoses.
The Kevin Smith film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has a child with him, and there's a conversation. And they've obviously gone... It's deep cuts because if you know who Kevin Conroy is, then you'll recognise his voice, and then the child he's got with him is just on a phone and stuff, and he's like he's disappointed with something, and then says the line, "Come on, Robbie, let's go," but in the Kevin Conroy Batman voice, and they leave, and I'm like, oh my god, that was amazing, that was great. Kevin Conroy doesn't look like anything like you imagine he would look from his voice.
What does he look like?
He's got a very long face. He's quite old.
I can imagine he's quite old. I
think he's like 70 years old or something.
Well, he was doing Batman in like the early 90s.
Yeah. I've never thought... Every time I see his face, I'm like, you don't look like I imagine you would look. But then I don't know what I imagine you look like.
In general, it can be kind of weird watching the voice actors at work because... some of your voice actors like doing in everything, like Scott McNeil or so, and just watching them at work's hilarious because sometimes you see them having a conversation with themselves. Dragon Ball Z was notorious for this because Scott McNeil did about 3 of the voices, so he'd constantly be having a conversation with himself.
Oh, I've seen the table reads when for American Dad and stuff when Seth MacFarlane is just talking to himself for 10
Well, he plays
minutes.
Stan. Who else would he play in there?
Well, he does Roger as well.
Oh, does he do Roger?
So now that American Dad is the Stan and Roger show, it's just him talking to himself.
Because obviously he was Brian in Family Guy.
And Stewie.
Was he Stewie as well?
Yeah, I think so. And Quagmire.
But Family Guy is the Brian and Stewie show half the time anyway.
Yeah, Family Guy can...
I mean, I don't like Family Guy that
do
much.
One, quite frankly. I
don't hate it. I just think it's alright.
I checked out on Family Guy a long time ago. Still like to check it with American Dad every now and then.
I think Family Guy, like Futurama, when it went off and then came back, it never quite came back right.
Is that like one of those where some kind of TV show where somebody dies and then comes back and they come back not quite right?
Yeah, it came back wrong.
Yeah.
But it just came back slightly rubbish.
Yeah. That was bad to me. I'm a little hungry. I wondered if the microphone had picked up my rumbling tummy. I was like, I'm hungry. I've been playing old games.
I've also been playing old games, but that's no different. Not much different for me.
I got an old game recently, but it was a new old game.
How old are we talking?
When I looked, did it say it was 2009?
It's pretty old. It's probably
That feels really old. But then,
what's the game?
Red Faction Guerrilla.
Even older than that, I believe that was about 2008, maybe even 2007. Yeah. I remember it being pretty early in the 360's life.
Potentially.
One of the premier open world games of its time. Not the destruction wasn't quite as pervasive as I'd hoped it was. It feels a bit like polystyrene blocks sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know whether sometimes I just don't boil things down far enough. but I love that game. It has to be up there on list of games I've played the most as top 5. I think I've played that game start to finish 8 times or something.
Wow.
I loved it. And I still maintain that it's probably one of the best party games you can get for its multiplayer.
I didn't even know it had a multiplayer.
Yeah, the multiplayer was like, pick an area. It was one person plays at a time. So you have the controller, you have your go, and it'll be like, you've got 2 minutes to destroy this building. And you pick what weapons and things you want. So you'd be like, I'm going to have the sledgehammer. So do as much destruction as you can in 2 minutes with the sledgehammer.
Well, like Chun-Li breaking the car in Street Fighter.
Yeah. You get a score, and then you hand the controller to the next person. They have their go to try and beat your score.
Yeah, I mean, that could work. I always feel like party games, you kind of want everyone playing at once, but... Super Smash Brothers, I always think, has been like... Or Mario Kart has been a classic party
Super
game.
Smash Brothers is rated as... Is it rated as the best...
I love a bit of Smash Brothers.
party game that you can get? Is that the way it's reviewed? Are you looking forward to the new Super Smash Brothers?
I don't have a Switch yet. I think we're getting to the point, because I need very, very little convincing to pick up a Nintendo console. I love me some Nintendo. I'm not going to pretend. I'm absolutely a massive Nintendo whore.
Nintendo whore.
Oh, yeah, right behind the back of the skips with Nintendo.
Jeez, man.
But as someone who owned a Wii U, I feel like I already owned most of its library.
Yeah, I mean the Wii U thing. I mean we've spoken about the Wii U on many occasions.
It's been a massive piece of shit.
Yeah, I mean I don't know if I really ever understood what the point to that console was.
But I think there are. I mean, because I really want to play Mario Odyssey. That's the one, obviously the big ticket one that I'd love to play.
You should. It's great.
I'd like to play the Mario Rabbids game because it's XCOM with Mario characters, and that sounds just fucking weird. So I'd love to play that. I'd like to play Splatoon.
Yeah, I keep looking at that as a game that I might be.
I just love the art style of Splatoon. It's so cool. Octopath Traveler has just come out, and I would really like to play that because that's it's done by the same developers who did Bravely Default and Bravely Second, so it's like a really super old school JRPG with proper sprite art and everything, and it looks great. I'd love to play that. And yes, Smash looks fun. I mean, it'll be out eventually.
So they've made a massive deal about the fact that this new version is going to have every single character that's ever been in any Super Smash Bros. Game ever.
I think everyone's in Smash Brothers. Like when that Hillary Clinton is in Smash Brothers.
But then I'm sure I saw something recently that said, "Here's the list of characters that aren't going to be in it." So they've sold it on something and then gone, "Oh well."
Well, they've got like the Ice Climbers. They've known they've been in it since Melee.
As far as party games go, I think I remember spending a lot of hours on that game. What was the Super Monkey Ball?
Oh, Super Monkey Ball's a Stone Cold classic. I know. You know what? I should say it now because Paul has bitched at me for saying Stone Cold classic too much, so I'm not even sorry.
Just literally spend the next 3 minutes saying it back to back.
Yeah, Stone Cold classic. Just put it on repeat.
What did he bitch to you about?
What he did was he came up with his big stupid face and went, and they said something about me saying Stone Cold classic too much. So I've tried my best to not say it, but it slipped out of there. It slipped out.
I think you should, you should make a point of just saying, from now on, I'll do all the talking, and every answer that you give should be Stone Cold classic then. Super Monkey Ball, great party game. I mean, are you ever going to get a better party game than like Mario Kart?
No. I mean, Mario Kart drives me up the wall, but it's hard to argue it has been, a great multiplayer game.
Although, if you think back to like the Super Nintendo era, a multiplayer could only ever be 2 players.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't Mario Kart. There was multi-taps for things like Micro Machines.
Yeah.
It was, remember, like 4 controller ports only really became a thing. Like the N64, I think, was the first to do it properly. I'm sure there was a weird console that did do 4 controller ports before the N64, but that's the first one I can really remember like properly popularising it.
Yeah, I'm struggling right now to think of one that had.
Oh, I'm sure there was some weird Japanese-only MSX machine or something that had 4 controller ports.
But I suppose as a wide release, it probably was the N64 to do it first.
Because like that and the Dreamcast and the.
I was thinking Dreamcast, but then I was like, I don't.
But the PS2 didn't. The PS2 only had 2 controller ports.
Yeah. Weird.
And of course, you know, the PS2 is. I think we've said before, is the best console ever made. So.
You see, I'd had a break from gaming. Between the PS1 and the PS2. I played a lot of games PS1 era. I remember saving up to buy a PS1 and getting the money I needed to finally buy it for my birthday and going and buying it from Toys R Us. And then I think it was like, it could have even been the next day or 2 days later, they reduced the price of a PlayStation by £100.
They did that with the N64 as well.
Wow. In hindsight, I should have just taken mine back and gone, can I return this and then buy it again for £100 less, please? But I never did. I played a lot of games at that point in time. Then I think there was probably a girlfriend.
I was just about to say, there's always the girl phase.
There was a girlfriend.
Because I've got my sort of wilderness years where gaming is concerned is the end of the N64 / PlayStation era and into the early PS2 era. So I would have been between the ages of maybe 15 and 18. I feel like they're my wilderness years.
Yeah, mine would have been sort of 17 to about 20, 18 to about 20 sort of area.
And then I got to university and it was back to video games again.
Yeah. I spent too much time going out and not enough time staying in. And then my life literally flipped on its head and I spent more time staying in than going out. So it was like, let's get a console then. Got a PS2 for a birthday and was like, yay!
I hated it as a machine, the PS2. I think it's a terrible machine. It was unreliable. It had the worst graphics of its generation by far. It was an ugly looking thing. But as its library, game console lives or dies by its library, and the PS2 was just fucking brilliant.
Yeah, there was so many games. I always remember there was like one of the first games that came out and it was like a fighting game. But you like ran around. I can't even think what the hell that game was called. I always remember it because it was like the first game. And I'd be running around like fighting guys, and I remember falling.
Well, kind of like Streets of Rage style thing.
Kind of, yeah. But
I'm thinking it either the Bouncer
that
or Rumble Roses.
No, I think it was the Bouncer. I remember falling asleep playing it one night. Yeah, that was. Yep, that wasn't. There was no more to that story. Yeah,
I'm not sure how we even got onto it, to be honest.
I think we were just going back through time in the world of... Oh, Red Faction.
Yeah, that's where we started on this.
Yeah. So, Red Faction. I would say I'm playing Ghost Recon, but I think I'll have to change the name of the podcast to the Ghost Recon podcast if I talk about that game anymore.
Is James playing that as well with you? I'm sure you could have a...
Oh, me and James have done, like... I think we did a State of Decay 2 review, which was like 20% State of Decay and 80% Ghost Recon. Just talking about how great a game it is.
To be honest, that's probably very indicative of what a lot of people thought about State of Decay 2.
It's weird because they've actually put a banner on the front of the State of Decay thing on the Xbox saying, join over 3 million players. So over 3 million people are playing that game.
I don't want to sound harsh, but there's Xbox One owners don't have a whole lot to play.
No, they don't.
compared to... There's no getting around the fact that the PS4 is just the better console. And I don't play... I feel like I have to point out, I've got no skin in this at all. I don't own any console. But if I was going to pick one up, I would pick up the PS4 Lite in a heartbeat.
There's been another video. This was something I was going to mention to you. There's been another video for the upcoming Spider-Man game.
Oh, it looks so good.
It's at this point of watching this new video that I start going, how are you going to fit all of this content into this one game? Because it's just so much.
I'm sure they'll sell it to half of it to you later.
I think at this point in time, I've seen... Because the latest, like, San Diego Comic-Con's on at the moment, so it's a good excuse to show a load of game stuff, apparently.
They've always done that at Comic-Con, which is kind of weird.
So they've introduced a new bad guy, so Silver Sable's in it. But then they did that thing where they went, oh, here's a load of other bad guys. And it's just, there's so many bad guys. Because I thought the Negative Man was supposed to be the main
Is Silver Sable the crap Marvel Catwoman?
Yeah, basically. But there's like Vulture's in it, I think Electro's in it, like the Negative Man, Silver Sable.
It's been in development for like 1 billion years.
Yeah, it's been in development since I think the beginning of the PS4's life. I think they went, oh, we best do a Spider-Man game, but let's do it right. Because, you know, Spider-Man games can be very hit and miss.
I wonder whether it's going to take so long that it might actually be one of these dual releases on the PS4 and almost certainly be a PS5. Because I think we're coming to the end of the PS4's lifespan now. I think it's fair to say.
There was a conversation recently about how we have now entered the twilight phase of both of these consoles.
Yeah, it feels like we're there now.
However, recently Microsoft announced that they were going to tell everybody what all of the upcoming games were for the Xbox One for the next X amount of time. And that made it sound like what they were saying, this isn't the twilight of this console.
Microsoft seemed to be going for an ecosystem approach to things. So when they release the next Xbox, whatever they call it, it may just have straight backwards compatibility with the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and even the original Xbox. You seem very keen on this backwards compatibility thing. Yeah, and you know what? It's, from my perspective, like from a consumer point of view, it's great.
Yeah, because they know people will still play games. I got Splinter Cell Conviction.
I played that fairly recently, of all things.
It was one of this month's games for gold, or whatever they call their free games, and I was super excited about that. Like, oh, I love that game, such a good game. Can't wait for that. I actually set a reminder on my phone for the day it was going to be released on the Xbox, so I was like, I'm going to download that as soon as it's available. Also, the thing about backwards compatible games, you put a game in the Xbox and it's like, I need 800 gig to download this game and install it. You're like, okay, best delete my entire library of games just to install this game. Okay, cool. You download a 360 game, it's like, I need 3 gig for the whole game.
Remember, it was only on DVD.
There's no DLC because it didn't exist.
I always think, because that generation of consoles was so long, it was like 8 years long, it basically split it up into eras. Like I always consider like the first 4 years of like the Xbox 360's life to be like some of the best gaming I've ever had. Yeah. And the last 4 to be not so great. Though the PS3 really ramped up its game in those last few years.
Yeah, I've said it before, I was 360 from the very beginning, played it for so long, and then towards the back end of that generation, bought a PS3.
It did feel like Microsoft just really took their foot off the gas in its last years, and that really hit into the Xbox One.
You've got to remember the PS3 decided to do one of the most insane things, but again, genius piece of marketing. They released The Last of Us on the PS3 and went, oh, by the way, we're going to release it on the PS4 as well. Don't you worry, pal. We've got you covered. Because The Last of Us is probably one of the best games of that entire generation.
So it was nice to see games, because I find there were a lot of those sort of last-gen games that sort of came out on the PS4 looking a lot better. The nice thing about The Last of Us is it came out in 60 frames per second as well on the PS4, which is real nice. I believe the the 2013 Tomb Raider also got like a really nice
It did. I
spruce up on the PS4.
believe I own that on the PS4 and owned it on because I had the special edition on the Xbox 360. So when I bought it for the PS4, I was like, I'll just buy.
I know I've been on sort of a Tomb Raider binge at the moment, and it's kind of nuts going back and playing like Tomb Raider Legend that came out in 2006. And playing Tomb Raider 2013, it's like these are on the same generation of consoles, and they look like generations apart. Honestly, they do.
Apart. Absolutely.
Like the Tomb Raider Legend, admittedly, was one of these ones where it came out really early in 360's life, and it was obviously built from a PS2 game. So for the 360 version, it had some nicer textures. It had some, slightly it was up-resed here and there. But fundamentally, it never looked that great. But even then, compared to the 2013, it's like, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, leagues apart. I mean, the fact that they're both under the same umbrella is a bit like, okay, I see what you've done, but completely different.
I mean, I've always said I like the new Tomb Raider games. I think they're great, but I don't think they're Tomb Raider.
Yeah. I mean, you do that thing where you look back through, like, for example, the Resident Evils, where you go, there was Resident Evil, and then there was new Resident Evil.
Resi 4 was the big one that really changed things up. But then, of course, we've gone kind of back to basics a little bit with Resi 7.
Yeah, and they are re-releasing Resident Evil 2.
And that's like a proper full-bore remake.
It's like a full-blown remake of it. It's essentially a different game now. So much so that I'm like, I might need to play that.
I don't necessarily mind, because like the original Resident Evil 2 is really, really old.
Yeah.
It's like, 96, 97, and I don't think anyone with a straight face can look and say, yeah, that game's aged great.
Anything from that point in time, you'd really struggle to play now.
There are some, like, because when I think of like proper full-on remakes, I was thinking of like Metroid Zero Mission was the Game Boy Advance version of the original NES Metroid, and it's very much a broad strokes remake, as in this, you go to Norfair, you go to Brinstar, you fight Kraid, you fight Ridley, but fundamentally the level design is completely different.
Yeah.
Tomb Raider Anniversary is a 2007 remake of the original Tomb Raider, and it looked at it and thought, you go to Peru, you fight the T-Rex, you do all that stuff, but fundamentally everything's different.
Yeah.
And I don't mind that kind of remake, because like, no one's looking at the original 1995 Tomb Raider and thinking, yeah, I really want to deal with the tank controls, I really want to deal with that fucking camera.
Yeah, because if I said to you, right, the only game you can play from this point on is the original Resident Evil, so you've got to deal with the mechanic of every time you go through a door, you've got to go through the loading screen.
Remember, the original Resi got a remake during the GameCube era.
Yep.
And I believe it come out on the PS4 like semi-recently.
Yeah.
Because I remember it being a real nice remake.
Yeah, they just keep remaking it.
That was closer, I think, to a remaster in that it kept, it had like all of the, like everything was redone, backgrounds are redone, all the models are redone, but fundamentally the level design and stuff was still very, very similar.
Yeah.
I don't know whether the controls were better, I've never played it.
The funniest thing I saw about Red Faction Guerrilla was when IGN reviewed the, it's called the Remastered.
I know, I did see it's on the PC as well.
Remastered.
It's really clever.
But by the way, it's set on Mars. Remastered.
I mean, it took me a while to get it the first time round, but after like maybe reading it like 3 or 4 times, I was like,
get it. Yeah, they've actually split on the box. They've split it out
just in case.
Remastered, and I'm like,
just in case.
Really? I think in the IGN review they make a comment on it as the first thing. It's like, whoever came up with the name for this version of the game should be shot. It's like, oh, okay. The nice thing I saw when they'd gone through the Red Faction review was that they gave it the remastered version. They gave the exact same score they gave it when they reviewed it.
I would argue that is a really nice compliment considering that game is 10 years old.
They've said that as a remastered game, it probably doesn't do all that much.
But the game is still fun.
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to get me to say that game's not fun, because I love it. I love playing that game.
I've just thought of another remake, and also sort of leads into a game I'm quite excited about. The original Metro 2033 got the Redux version, you know, when they did Last Light, and that was a complete ground-up remake, and it's really good. Also leads me into what else looks great, which is the new Metro game. I love the Metro games. I think they're both fantastic.
It's one of those things that I'm pretty sure you just look through my games and go, what games have you got? Oh, let's talk about that, because I'm pretty sure if you spend long enough looking at them, you'll find the remastered Metro. And then, I saw a trailer for that and was like, oh yeah, I kind of forget about Metro.
I'd heard that it was open world and my heart sank, but apparently it's not. Apparently it's... Crysis described this as, they called it an action bubble, where it's lots of sort of a linear section and then more open sections, and they call them action bubbles. I call it the anal bead level design.
I loved getting, was it Crysis 3? That was one of the first games that they really sort of boasted that had 3D capability. There was the Avatar game.
Oh, as in 3D glasses, 3D.
Yeah.
So
I had a 3D TV at that point in time and was like,
one of you and about 3 other people.
3D. Let's give this a try. And you put your 3D glasses on, and the way that they've done it is that the HUD of the game, if you put your 3D glasses on, it's like you're wearing the helmet. So, like, when you move the thing and with the glasses...
I have a feeling that might have been Crysis 2.
I thought it was Crysis 2. I was like... I'm
just feeling because I can remember Arkham Asylum came out and that had 3D capabilities, and Crysis 2 was kind of like 2010, 2011. That feels more like the right era.
Arkham was the other one that I played in 3D and was, entertaining. Little quirky things like that I'm a big fan of. I like quirk. But I remember playing whichever Crysis game it was, let's go with 2, and going, it's kind of a nice little touch, because I thought that they'd go with the things coming out of the screen at you, and I was like, well, how have they done that? Because that isn't in that game. But no, they just went, we're going to put the HUD, like, as if you're wearing the helmet.
It's a really short-lived phase. I mean, like, the 3DS as well, also with its terrible 3D.
Made everyone feel sick.
It made me feel really sick. The new one is slightly better. It's got head tracking, but most of the time you just leave it off. But that tended to have things like HUD elements stand out rather than trying to go for anything too fancy. But that 3D was a very short-lived phase. So 2011 was the 3DS, and Crysis 2 came out in 2011, so I'm definitely thinking it was that one.
Yeah, makes sense.
But yeah, like the 3DS, I always think of it in the same vein as the Wii U, and it's just like, it was very much just like, who is this for? I mean, I love my 3DS. It had a fantastic library in the end, but its actual gimmick was bollocks.
Yeah, I think we did the 3D, not the... Or did we just do the DS? I don't think we did the 3D one. I love the DS. The DS was great.
DS had an amazing library. Yeah. It's along with the PS2, it's pretty much the two best-selling consoles of all time. The DS sold an absolute shit ton.
Yeah, when everybody thought Nintendo was dead in the water, they do like to do that.
It's Nintendo. Nintendo do their own thing.
Yeah,
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, they make consoles for gamers is their thing.
I think they must honestly, I think Nintendo's do whatever the fuck they want. Yep. And I mean, sometimes it can feel a bit like you take it or leave it. Because, like, you look at Nintendo's, like, success rate on their consoles, and it's a proper up and down. Because it's like, the Wii sold like 1 billion, so, sort of like a bajillion. The DS sold like a bajillion. And then the Wii U comes out, and it tanked like a bitch.
I think I own one, and you own one. And that's it.
And the 3DS did do quite well in the end, but it had a really slow start.
It had a rocky start, and then picked up.
And then the Switch, they can't keep the fucking Switch on the shelf, so...
No. Even Ed owns a Switch.
I will one day. I'm sort of hoping they'll do a hardware revision because I'd like it a pure portable. I don't really have any interest in playing on a big screen because, But I would like a little portable version of one.
I have mixed things with the Nintendo stuff. The Nintendo consoles and the games and stuff don't really speak to me personally.
I love it.
However, I am actually waiting for a Switch game, which I feel is a bit like, interesting.
Which one?
There's a game called My Friend Pedro.
Oh yeah, you have talked to me about this.
And I'm like, that game looks brilliant. Because they sold it to me when they said, have you ever wanted to play a game where you feel like Deadpool? I'm sorry, what? And then they introduced this game and they showed like this clip of the gameplay, and I was like, take my money now.
Which is the Armored Core Star one? Demon something.
Yeah, they're doing yeah.
God, I feel like I should know this. But I saw that and I was like, it has Shoji Kawamori on Mecha Design, Macross Plus fame. I feel like I have to put that in there.
It's gone all John Rambo. We've looped back round to where we started.
Macross Plus Escaflowne and Cowboy Bebop Mecha Design fame. And about a million other things. But either way, he's doing the mecha design. He did all the mecha design on Armored Core. But that looks great.
Yeah, another one that I was actually like, ooh, another reason to keep hold of the Switch.
I don't think it's just I'm finding it very slow. If I hadn't owned a Wii U, the Switch library would have looked pretty nice now.
Yeah.
But as someone who does own a Wii U and picked up virtually every release for it, that meant about one game every year. Then it's like, yeah, great, Captain Toad was a fun game and all, but I already own Captain Toad.
I think they've done a smart thing by going down the route of going, what games do people really like? People really like Skyrim. Let's port it to the Switch. What other games do people really like? Doom went down well. Port it to the Switch, quick. It's looking at the games that have been out for a while that did really well and seeing if they can move them over to get more money for old rope.
Doom's a great example of why, like, can you imagine playing the Switch version of Doom on your telly or in Vaseline vision at 30 frames a second compared to the PS4 version, like, runs at 1080p at 60 frames a second, rock solid. Yeah. So, like, why would I want to play the shitty Switch version? And then they think, but would you like to play Doom on the train? And it's like,
would you like to play it at work? Yeah.
That's why I'm hoping they do a revision, like, really sorts out things like the battery life, which is the real killer on the Switch. It's like for a portable, it's got like 3 to 4 hours, and that's not good enough for a portable.
Yeah.
Even the 3DS gave me 6 or 7, and I was pretty down on that, to be honest.
Everything's about how you sell it, though, isn't it? Because what they've said is that the Switch is designed to be a console that you play on the TV. When somebody comes into the room and says, I want to watch something on the TV, your answer is, that's fine. Click, click, away I go. I play this for a bit because you're going to watch something for an hour maybe, and then I'm going to go back to playing my game on the screen.
I think as a console, as a pure... It doesn't feel like it has a whole lot to offer versus the big boy consoles.
No, and this is why it stands and sits outside of your PS4, your Xbox One.
Which is what Nintendo do.
Sony and Microsoft can fight it out between themselves.
And Nintendo will do whatever the fuck they want, as usual.
Nintendo will just dance around in the background making fun little games for people that want fun little games.
You know, I'm a massive Nintendo whore. I've always loved Nintendo, so... I had a Super NES, and that was my first, games console, so...
Yeah, I had one. I've still got one. But
I've always loved Nintendo, and they're one of the few companies in the games industry. Yeah, they do stuff sometimes that make you think, what the fuck are you doing, Nintendo? But you always get the feeling that at the top of their priorities is making some cool-ass games.
Yeah, it's strange that they kind of go down the route of going, well, Sony, you're doing this. Microsoft, you're doing this. We're going to go and do this. Because we think it's going to be fun, and people like fun. And that's kind of the way that they're selling their consoles, their games and stuff. People want to have fun while they're playing games. The Microsofts and the PlayStations of this world are probably the more serious.
They don't care about things. They don't want to, they don't want a story with pathos. They don't want all that stuff. It's like, here's an Italian plumber and you can jump around and have fun. Yeah. They're just not bothered. Huh. And fair enough, Nintendo sort of got it sewn up, because I can guarantee you that Microsoft or Sony will look at the success of the Switch and say, maybe we should do a hybrid console, and like it always does, it will fall on its arse, because saying that, you know what, the PSP did bloody well. The original PSP.
Original PSP, yeah. I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, saying I had a PSP, and towards the back end of owning that portable, it became a movie device. I had loads of the UMDs. And because
hell, UMDs. I heard they were made a bit of a racket, but
I used to have to go away for work quite a lot. So I'd take the PSP and the UMDs, and I'd watch film while I was sitting in a hotel, or take one of the games and play a game and stuff. And it was great for those reasons that you could jump between those two things. Another media that I owned, because I have this thing about Akira, that I've owned Akira.
Akira on a UMD. Wow.
I had Akira on a UMD. So I had it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, obviously. But yeah, I had it on like UMD. I had it on loads of like random different things.
Betamax.
I always had to own Akira on whatever the
VCD Laserdisc.
Laserdisc was the only one that I never owned it on, because I never owned a Laserdisc.
No one owned a Laserdisc. You probably would only be able to get the Japanese release anyway. But Laserdisc was only really Japan.
Yeah, I did know somebody who did have one, but not at the time. Like at that time, because we'd all moved over to DVD by then. Yeah, so speaking of Doom, I'm actually playing Doom at the moment.
The 2016 one? Fucking brilliant game.
Well, I'm playing it on the Xbox One, because I own it on the PS4 and have played
What?
it on the PS4. Yeah, it's a long story. It's almost definitely Tim Lacey's fault.
Right.
Almost.
Has he done a podcast, or...?
No, he keeps refusing.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm just going to leave that out there on the table. What more do you need to say than that? He just keeps smiling and walking away. It's like, bye, Tim. So yeah, he won't do it.
Oh well.
I could say horrible things about him, and
He would never know.
he'd never know.
We shouldn't.
Well, yeah, I've got the... That doesn't mean anything to the people that can't see, but I've got the big Doom statue thing.
It's a Revenant by the looks of things.
I was talking to somebody the other day about this, saying that I bought Doom for the PS4 when it came out, played it, loved it, great. I really wanted the special edition, but they wanted £110
It's ridiculous.
for the statue in the game, and that was it. And I'm like, ain't doing it. A couple of months after it came out, I'd gone into Game, and they were selling the special edition half price. So it was £55. So I was like, 55 quid. Obviously, it includes the game. So the game was like, it was worth so much money. I was like, I already own it. I could trade my copy of the game in against that, get that, save money. Probably a good idea. The guy in Game was like, yeah, the weird thing is that if you trade Doom in, the trading price was like £30.
So he got it for like 20 quid or something.
I'm like, that's insane. I'll be back in a minute. Got my copy of Doom, took it in. So I paid like 25 quid, got the massive statue.
Yeah, I'm going to guess we're going to get another Doom game, because I know it did rather well. Hopefully it'll be better than Wolfenstein 2 was, but...
Which I'm also playing at the moment.
The second one, New Colossus, I did not like it.
No, basically I'm playing a load of games on the Xbox that I've played before to get the achievements. But I think I paid £10 new for Doom, and maybe £12 new for
They've not held the
Wolfenstein.
price. This is the thing, and I can kind of understand where game companies are coming from, because I always bitch about they don't make proper single player games anymore. But when the prices drop like a stone, it's kind of hard to argue why they're not making these games.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate way of the world, because I'm a man who believes that there should definitely be more single player games in the world.
But if you don't make money, then they won't make them.
You know the thing that playing both of those games that I realised, both made by the same company.
Bethesda,
Yeah. Bethesda.
Bethesda also made Prey, the only other single player game that came out.
Yeah.
Another great game.
Yeah, they're really hit and miss with some of their games. Like, because they'll make great games, and then they'll go, oh, we just didn't really try.
Let's make
very
Rage.
hard. Rage is great. Love Rage. Can't wait for the new one.
Wow.
Can't wait for the new one.
They're making a new one.
Yeah.
I thought Rage sold really badly.
I don't know, but they're making a new one. Can't wait.
Sounds like Bethesda.
Trailer's brilliant. I think when you reach that status, it's almost like you don't need games to make money. You could just release whatever you want and people generally will buy it.
But from what I gather, the new Colossus did sell quite poorly, but it also reviewed very lukewarmly.
Yeah, there was... Because they did that stint where they do the main game, then they would sell. It wasn't even DLC. They would sell like an additional game. Because there was the New Blood.
Oh, yeah. That was like an expandalone.
Yeah. And I wasn't sure what they were going with that because I think there was something like you had something that went down, whether it was your health was always going down or something was always going down. And I think that they limited the number of weapons you had, or any weapons. I think you might have just had the pipe or something. And yeah, I tried to play that and was like, not sure what you're going with.
The New Blood, I think that's what it was. The expansion to the New Order. The Old Blood, that was it. Was okay. But it was notably worse than the game it was expanding.
Yeah.
And the sequel that came out was also notably worse than the game it was following. Which is a shame.
It is a shame.
I do wonder what's happened to Quake. Because, like, you would have thought that if they owned id, I would assume, because that's how they got Doom, and then that's how they got Wolfenstein, and I've got Rage. So I would assume they could do a Quake game, and that would probably do some pretty good business.
Probably would, but I imagine that they would probably have to take their time and do the right Quake
Arguably,
game.
it doesn't do much that Doom doesn't. Because, like, Quake and Doom, like, they're very different, the early 90s ones, but they're different because the technology powering them, rather than the style of game. Whereas it's hard to imagine what Quake would do that is different to Doom now. It's like, yeah, it's a fast-paced, fast-paced shooter. Yeah, it's like, well, true. That's kind of what Doom is.
Yeah. And as we know, these games companies that get bigger and bigger and bigger, they can only be so big and so many people, and, you know, a decent game takes 2.5 years to make.
Yeah, and
it
the rest
takes
sometimes.
200 people. It takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of stuff to put into it. So I imagine they have to make certain choices at certain times.
Sometimes you get games like Mass Effect Andromeda that took 5 years to make and was a giant piece of shit.
Steaming.
So sometimes I think it's just how well managed those projects are.
Yeah, which yeah. I mean, if you look at things like the latest God of War.
The one reason I would love to play the new God of War, it looks so good. Again, from what I gather, that very much has the anal bead level design in that you've got very linear sections and then sort of big open areas. Yeah. And then I like that style of game, particularly if you can go backwards.
Oh, you can go backwards. Yeah, there's a lot of going backwards. I'm a huge God of War fan. And, I watched the video of the director of the new God of War crying whilst reading the reviews for the new God of War. I don't know how to say it. I don't know how to word it to give the right impression. I had issues with the new God of War.
Oh, wow.
I was loving it, and I was really loving it. And I can't... There are certain things I can't say because there would be huge spoilers if anybody hasn't played it, and you haven't played it.
I would like to one day. I just don't own the hardware to do so.
There are a couple of things that happen in that game where you're just like, wow, that great moments. There's stuff at the beginning that's just like, wow, it really gets you into the game. So, I feel that game, they took it so far, and I feel that it was very much if we want to make more money off this, let's end it now. And I don't want that from a game. You were asking me for a lot of money. Well, games are very expensive these days. You're asking me for a lot of money. Give me the game.
I think games are very expensive if you buy them on release, which I don't. I tend to buy games 6 months after once they're fixed and they're half price.
Yeah.
some games never drop in price. You know, as I say, good old Nintendo, you'll be paying, you know, 50 quid for Mario Kart 5 years later.
Because they can sell it for £50 because people will buy it for £50.
Yeah, and it always comes down to, it's like, well, I won't buy Mario Kart for £50, and
Then
Nintendo,
you won't play it.
And then 5 years later, I'm like, maybe I will finally buy Mario Kart.
Maybe I should have bought it originally because it's still the same fucking price.
But that's why, the thing is that that's how my logic with Nintendo games. Like, well, it'll never drop in price, so I'll buy it at full price. And I realise, like, have I just bought into Nintendo's bullshit here?
Yeah, you know, me and game prices, you know, I will scour the earth for the cheapest version, especially if I feel I need to buy it early on.
It's very rare these days that I feel I need to buy something at release.
I'm a lot better than I used to be. I mean, I used to take days off for new games.
Wow, I've never done that.
I used to do that. That used to be a thing, and I'm, you know, I won't tell you how long ago that was because it's not that long ago.
Depressingly short time ago.
Yeah, unfortunately. I've done that. I've taken time off for the games. Games were a big thing. I had to buy every special edition.
Can you imagine if you'd taken 3 days off work to play Dragon Age Inquisition, though? Can you imagine how devastated you would be?
Yeah, I didn't do that. That wasn't a thing. That was I got that for Christmas and.
I'm just looking at your game collection now and I sort of realised another amazing 2013 shooter style game, Shadow Warrior.
Great game.
Really, really awesome. I love the 2013 Shadow Warrior. I always feel like it was kind of a precursor to the 2016 Doom.
Have you played the sequel?
I don't like it, but yes, I have. It feels more like Borderlands than it does Shadow Warrior, and I feel like everything that the first one did right, the second one did wrong.
Yeah.
It looks better, I will grant you that. The original looked a bit wonky.
It's a strange thing that there are points in that game where it's like, can you just slow down? It's like, here's 800 enemies for you to fight right now. Really? That's the thing? Yeah, that's the thing. Crack on. Right, okay. You've got lots of weapons. Don't bitch about it. Just get on with it and do it. But that's going to take a long time. And probably get a bit boring. Yeah, we'll see.
I never got bored of it, but I just liked how I liked how the sword stuff worked, because like melee weapons in first-person games have traditionally not been much cop.
Yeah.
But they work really well in I just liked how Monty Python it was, because you like chop a leg off an enemy, would continue hopping about fighting you.
Yeah, the comedy does make those games. Like the first one was so tongue-in-cheek that it was coming out the side of the mouth. It was like, wow.
Hoji was amazing.
Yeah.
Although the original Shadow Warrior, like, it actually pulls the rug out from you, because like by the end of the game, you're like, that was actually quite a cool story. I actually found myself caring at points during. It's like, whereas the second one, I just never liked any part of it. They tried to do the same thing again. You've got, your ethereal companion, which is like, oh, she's just a kind of a bitch.
She was a bit of a bitch.
And like Hoji was funny, and you're just a bitch.
Yeah. Again, when you try and do something different, same but different, it's about a 50-50 success.
I was never a big fan of Borderlands, though, in much the same way. I just don't really gain much from them.
You know what Borderlands is? Borderlands is a game that gives you the option to have... I think at one point there was
9 million guns or something.
Yeah, I think there was a point where it went, well, there's like 4 million guns in the first one, and then they doubled it for the next one. And you know what? Those 4 million guns, they're all shit.
Yeah.
So every gun you pick up in that game is worse than the gun you've got.
And it does make you realise how, when they make a weapon in a game, usually, they've obviously tweaked that weapon to feel just right.
Yeah.
Whereas in Borderlands, it's like, what a piece of shit. Let's hope the next... Oh, no, it's another piece of shit.
And I realised, because I played Borderlands, loved it, played it again and went, hang on a minute, every game you give me is worse than every gun you give me is worse than the gun I've got. So why give me it? Every pickup was just shit.
I enjoyed the first one to some degree as a kind of proof of concept. But the second one just felt like the same one thing again. I never really liked its structure and its quest design or anything. It felt a bit bitty.
Yeah, I weirdly only realised it playing it the second time that was the case. It was like, I've wasted time twice.
I'm surprised Borderlands hasn't come out. It feels like, they had Borderlands 2 in 2012 or whenever it was. I was like, I haven't seen it since. I thought they were all both very popular.
There was a series of sequels. There was a series of...
There was the pre-sequel, but that was very much a cheap sort of, cash-in.
Yeah, I feel like there was a couple of those. Something about being on the moon.
That was the pre-sequel.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't there... Was it they did some Telltale ones? Was that?
Oh, Tales of the Borderlands. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, so there was.
You know what? It was surprisingly good as well. I would argue I enjoyed it more than I did the Borderlands games.
I think I tuned out by that point.
But I think it's more that Gearbox are in a weird position because obviously they're the Colonial Marines fiasco. And then they released. Remember, because they did Bulletstorm.
Yep.
And then they re-released Bulletstorm.
Yep.
At full price. Not that long ago, and I'm like, Bulletstorm for £50. I'm like, no,
I've played it.
It's like, and I sort of enjoyed it in the 360 days, but not.
Note to all game companies: when you re-release a game, make it half the price of the original one, at least.
Also, if you're gonna put if you're gonna put Duke Nukem in it as a thing, don't then charge extra for that.
Yeah. At this point in time, I am actually going to have to take a break.
Well, I think we might be able to sort of possibly call it here, as I'm starting to...
Die?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I'm so hungry.
Sam's dying. Literally dying.
I'm just seeping everywhere. It's dreadful.
My back teeth are floating, so... I'm happy to call it there. That's a hefty chunk.
Hefty chunk?
Hefty chunk.
No, not a nice thing to call your guests.
Well, I didn't mean you. Jeez. And obviously you'll need to get rested up for tomorrow's podcast.
Sergio Tomigo again.
There you go. So I hope everybody could hear how much I'm sacrificing for the love of the podcast by starving to death in this room. And if the video ever makes it onto the podcast, you'll see how much of a lie that is.
Zombiecast tomorrow.
Zombiecast tomorrow. It's going to be a monster Zombiecast. I think we've got 6 people. There's new guests, new
Virgin role players.
Virgin role players,
as they often are in my experience.
Oh, that made me feel sad.
No, but seriously, they shouldn't breed. It's breeding for autism.
I'm not going to pass comment on that one, I'm afraid.
Maybe edit that one out.
I'm walking away from this. And on that note...
Yeah, ladies everyone.
Let's leave it there. Bye-bye!
Bye-bye.
So there you go. What did you think to that? Not a bad little chat with me and Sam. As always, it's time for me to tell you to jump over to thecookiecast.com. Send us email, Twitter, or a tweet, Facebook, anything like that. Check out our Instagram page, which features some of our lovely faces on. There'll be more going up there as time goes on, while we do more interesting things as a podcasting group. But until next time, which, like I say, fingers crossed, will be Zombiecast Part 3. I'll leave you for now, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.